Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's December 9, just 16 days before Christmas Day, a time of celebration, reflection, and sharing inspiration. And today, we have someone who started as a student with an idea and turned it into platforms that help thousands of learners and teachers. I'm DJ Moises. Joining us is the mind behind CodeChum and GradeChum. Jemar Jude Maranga, a remarkable young innovator of platforms that are transforming the way students learn coding and teachers manage their classes. So Jude, welcome to the show.
Thanks, DJ, for having me here. Very
Uh,
excited.
Yes, and maybe you can greet your fans.
Shout out to my fans out there.
So for the non-fans, after greeting the fans, no. So for people who do not know you well, how would you normally describe yourself?
Okay, so again, my name is Jude in Cebu. And basically, my background is in computer science. And when I graduated, I decided to pursue the path of entrepreneurship. So I'd say I'm an entrepreneur, technopreneur.
Technopreneur. So when was that moment in your life when you realized that I can create something useful for people?
Yeah, so, okay, quick backstory. Ever since high school, I've always had that feeling of wanting to start something on my own, not to go through the employment route. And when I went to college, that feeling sort of intensified when our dean, you know her, di ba? Ma'am Cherry Lynn Santa Romana.
You can say hi to her.
Hi, Ma'am Cherry. Hi, Ma'am Dean. We call her Ma'am Dean. So, in one of her classes, I think I was second year college that time. She told me, because I was the top of the class. I'm good.
Yeah.
So,
Was? No?
oh.
Just kidding. Okay, continue. Okay.
So she told me na ito si Maranga, maha-hired na ito ngayon eh. Pero I don't think he will survive. So, that was very eye-opening for me because I tend to question things a lot, man God. I tend to challenge kung unsa ang mga common rules, etc. And so, at that time, I realized na when I graduate, I wanted to do my own thing, yun. And so, actually, even before I graduated, second year, third year college pa lang, I started doing freelancing na. What I did is I formed a team of freelancers na all students pod. So it was a sort of mini freelancing company. The name was Code Access PH. So we were a team of freelancers. We were able to serve over 100 clients, both local and international, while we were all still students. And so during fourth year college, time came na it was during our thesis project, na thesis days. That was when the idea of CodeChum came to be. So CodeChum was my college thesis project back then, and when I graduated, I decided to turn it into a startup. Okay, anyway, from my side, I have experience na doing business from the freelancing journey. I was able to do the tech side as well as the business side, sa sales, sa marketing. And so I decided to apply those skills to CodeChum. That was the journey.
And I hope our viewers were able to capture that because I think at least for your generation, more and more are engaging into entrepreneurship. No?
Yes.
Because from my generation, a lot of us were encouraged or inspired to be employees,
Yes.
to be successful at being an employee, but not necessarily to succeed as an employer, which is now what you're doing. But before we get into that part, are you the night owl kind of coder or are you the morning kind of coder?
So I'd say I'm the night owl. Before, when we were freelancing pa during college, what I do is I prefer to. So what I do is I'll sleep siguro mga 6 to 8 p.m. And then what I do is I do overnight coding. So 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. or even onwards. And then I prefer to do it because it's very silent, manggod. So I can focus. But eventually, di na siya sustainable sa health-wise, di ba? Very stressful. I used to drink a lot of energy drinks, very unhealthy. And so, and also in terms of meeting with the team, it's hard to be a night owl or night person because the team members are not night owls. So I had to adjust that. But I'm not a super early morning person. Sakto lang. Yeah.
You highlighted earlier that you were on top of the class. You mentioned earlier that you were
Yeah,
top
yeah.
of the class, but were you always an achiever
During college.
during
So,
college? How about when you were younger?
No. Sakto lang, average. So, before college, wala ko kaibaw kung unsa gyud ang akong ganahan sa life ba. But when I went to college, that's when I met the true love of my life, yun, which is programming. So, so
I thought this is a Valentine's special, no? But sige, continue.
so I love programming very much, and kanang every after class I would solve programming problems that weren't required by our teachers. And so consistently good from first year to fourth year I was the top 1 computer science student all throughout. And when I graduated sa college, that was the first time na I graduated as class valedictorian, because again, it was my passion and I found it very easy to do. Dili siya painful for me to do academics, most especially the major. The minor medyo challenging, but the major subjects, to the point na kanang if sometimes diba na class suspension kay mag-joke man na ang mga people na ay salamat ay kanang why klase wa koy ma-learn, and so joke raman na nila, pero in my case di ko siya joke. So like truthfully magsakit jud ko every time na makancel ang classes, most especially on major subjects.
So, this is not part of the question that I wanted to ask. For the sake of our viewers, at least for your experience, what advice or tips you can give them in terms of choosing the right, how do you call that?
Program.
Kanang sa senior high pa lang, the right
strand.
no? And eventually the right course in college.
Okay. So I would say I was one of the lucky ones na when I went to college, ako napili, which is computer science, is something I deeply love good. A lot of people don't have that privilege, no, na kuan. But in my case, what really helped me was my father, akong papa. When I was still fourth year high school, I can recall na he helped me create this decision matrix pa.
Wow.
Engineer, di ba? Decision matrix na naadad to ang possible programs. So, computer science, one of the programs I would remember was computer engineering, and the other one was civil engineering. Actually, I almost took civil engineering. Pero fortunately, wala kay my best friend is civil engineering, and I found it na kanang di siya lingaw for me. But basically, what I would recommend or advise is sa high school pa lang, as early as high school, na they should try exploring as many things as possible. So for example, if na opportunity to volunteer somewhere as a tech community, for example, they could do that para makita nilang world ba. And as early as kanang high school they should start kanang reading na mga sample stories or sample kanang mga life, looking at sample life sa other people who want to be kanang in different fields. So for example, sa akong sister is still senior high, and I advise her to kanang tanawan ni siya na vlogger, kanang vet siya na vlogger ba. I advise her to take a look at her para makita niya ang life sa vet, kung if that's something that she really wants to do ba yun. So basically, start exploring as early as possible. Dili lang magsige og games sa high school, di ba? Sa high school mga games, laag. Exploring as early as possible.
Pwede mag-develop of games.
Pwede. That would be a great way to explore.
Okay. But anyhow, if our viewers can recall, last week we guested Brittany, Almasin, and she was the number 5 in the NLE for the whole Philippines. And she highlighted fundamentals. She also highlighted study habits. I think this is a great addition. It's also important to be able to choose the right course.
Yes.
Because you can easily excel at something that, number one, you're good at it, and second, you also like it.
Yes. Di siya painful po.
Di siya painful. Mo na nga mag-uol ka kung may klase.
Oh, mag-uol.
Okay. Anyway, So let's now dive into CodeChum. No? So this is your thesis project, but what
Yes.
was your light bulb moment?
Okay. So, katong time na I was still, at first ako rato usa. And then all of a sudden, nidaghan ng projects. And so what I did is, I asked my schoolmates, my classmates, kung interested ba sad sila, open-minded ba sila.
Open-minded ka ba?
Open-minded man sila. And so what I did is I mentored them, I guided them, this is what you should learn, study this, take a look at these YouTube tutorials. And then afterwards, they were able to get the projects and they were able to start earning. And so that was really my personal motivation ba na I wanted nakita na ko ang beauty and power of programming yun. You don't need to graduate, although wala ko nag-advise na mo drop out. But essentially, you just need a laptop and an internet connection. And you could start earning dollars because online siya, no? And so, that was the motivation of CodeChum na ang akong gi-think ato na time was if makahelp ko sa other people learn programming, kaya it would significantly change their lives yun. And again, based na siya sa akong personal experience helping my teammates sa Code Access PH. So, yeah.
And there's the part that I also want our viewers to capture, because there are those who can and should finish a degree,
Yes.
but there are also those for so many reasons they cannot. But there are micro credentials that they can take online.
That's
no?
right.
Even YouTube,
Yeah.
no? They can learn from YouTube for them to do something that's meaningful and useful. No? So sige, going back to CodeChum. So where did you also encounter people who doubted the concept, and how did you get past that stage?
Doubted the concept when we were still starting, or when I was still starting at that time, I didn't receive any doubts yet. I think because primarily ang nakibaw sa CodeChum at that time was Ma'am Cherry. Ma'am Cherry was my thesis advisor, di ba? And I was ang the other people who know about CodeChum or knew about CodeChum were people from my alma mater, Cebu Institute of Technology University. And all of them were supportive because they really felt the pain of checking programming activities. And so, at the start, wala kayo doubt, but then, as we grow and grow and grow, of course, no start yun, naging mga people who doubted na, is this something ba yun na needed? Is this something that is still fit for the future or for the long run?
So did you also imagine back then that this thesis project will eventually grow beyond your college or your university?
Wala yun. So, CodeChum was basically my first startup. I didn't know how to do startups yet, although I know how to do the servicing side, katong making websites for other people, making systems. But in terms of creating our own product, that's the first time yet. And so I can't imagine possible siya mo go outside sa Cebu in the first place. I thought na CIT will use my alma mater, but the other universities will use kay mga from Cebu or pod. But I didn't imagine na it would go nationwide. So, dili ko ka-visualize at that time because there were not so many startups here in Cebu at that time. And even sa akong entire batch or sa batch from same batch na ako from other schools, wala gyud nag-pursue startup. So it's something really new, but I still push through anyway.
So you founded the company immediately after college?
Yes.
And how old were you at that time?
I think I was 21. 21 years old.
And never looked back since then?
Yes.
Sige. So for viewers who have not used CodeChum, how does it work?
Okay. So to give you some context, programming essentially means giving instructions to a computer na something niya na ma-understand and ma-interpret And maunang yung output is ang applications that we see right now. So the apps that you use, Facebook, Gmail, etc., those were written through programming. Now, in a class, in a programming class at schools, students are asked to write their own programs. They need to make their own programs. And teachers basically have to open those programs one by one, and they have to check them one by one. And it's a very tedious process. And so, basically, naay dilemma ang mga teachers. The dilemma for the teachers is they could give more programming exercises to the students para the students would learn more, but burden siya sa checking. On the other hand, they could give less programming exercises para di siya burden silang checking, but the students would not learn as much. And so that's where CodeChum comes in. Kaya in CodeChum ang God, everything is automatically checked. So mag-make ang students silang programs in CodeChum and everything is automatically checked. And so it's very efficient. The teachers could give so many programming exercises to the students and they wouldn't need to worry about the checking.
And I think it's also a good mindset for would-be entrepreneurs who are watching, because you also highlighted a concept of being able to quickly spot a problem or a pain point.
Yes.
And instead of focusing or pouring energy on the problem, it's better to shift the mindset on how you can solution it.
Yes.
And earn in the process.
Correct. Yeah.
Sige. So what are the skills that our viewers should need to have for them to be able to succeed at coding?
Coding, not entrepreneurship, coding.
Oh, coding, yes.
Okay, coding, basically the only secret good is to keep on solving programming problems over and over again. So again, when I was in first year college, actually until second year college, every after class at night, I used to solve at least one programming problem every day, even weekends, even holidays, just one programming problem. Just like any skill, practice and repetition are good ang secret. So it's simple, but it's hard to do. So na siya. But it's basically just practice. And that's why in CodeChum, again, since teachers are not burdened now with the programming exercises, they could give so many programming exercises and encourage your students to keep on solving, because it builds the problem-solving skills, which is very important, most especially in this age of AI.
And then the other thing also that I'm reminded with your answer, because there's this book, Outliers by Gladwell, and it explains the importance of 10,000 hours. And among the case studies that he used was Bill Gates. Before he became Bill Gates, he had a lot of hours also spent working on gadgets and computers. So I think you just highlighted also the importance of practice, to be very good at coding. So now, from helping students learn better with CodeChum, you have moved into helping teachers save hours grading exams with GradeChum. So I see the pattern of chums. So before I move forward, what's with chum?
A lot of people
Fun chum.
A lot of people actually ask that, ano sa mga yun ang chum di ay? So chum, if you Google it, it's actually a close friend. And so that's the idea, na CodeChum is a close friend in learning coding or programming. GradeChum is a close friend in helping you with the grading. So that's the background behind Chum.
So what inspired you to create the platform GradeChum?
Yes. So actually, inspiration is funny, because it comes at any random time. Di gud siya kanang, it's not something na mag-focus ka and then like all of a sudden kay mukuan siya. So in the case of GradeChum, actually, I was riding my motorcycle on my way to eat siomai. And in Punta.
Okay, okay.
And ang siomai na kuan bito tag 4 pesos or 5 pesos. And I love that. And then all of a sudden naka-think ko na teachers, they have stacks of papers na ilang mabilin sa ilang mga desk. Because before I used to be a part-time teacher or faculty sa in my alma mater. And I could always remember na ako ang mga co-faculty members, dahil kasi silang papers. And every time they would go to the faculty room, they would say na, they would place the papers and they would say na, daghan na pa na kog need checkan. And I ever since the time of my lola, kung lola was a DepEd teacher, ang checking sa papers has always been manual, and it's been accepted as a painful, sad reality, di ba? Na ingana na siya. If you want to be a teacher, mauna ang suffering that you have to undergo. But then, we dared to question that. We asked na, does it have to be this way? So, essentially, with the advent of AI, we thought na now it's possible to solve that long-standing na suffering ba with AI. And so, that's when the idea of CodeChum came to be, na automatic na ma-check ang mga papers sa students.
So again, there's a pain point, there's suffering, and does it always have to be this way?
Yes.
So, and then you become an entrepreneur. Again, no? The second time around. So how does CodeChum actually work? Can you show our viewers?
Yes, okay. So, in here, so this is our website, CodeChum.com. The way it works is, in a nutshell, the teacher will have to input their questions on the CodeChum platform. So, similar to Google Forms, where they input the questions. And then they print and distribute CodeChum answer sheets. So, there's a PDF that they need to print on a bond paper or newsprint. And then they scan the answer sheets, either using the CodeChum mobile scanner or this physical scanner that we provide to the schools. So CodeChum can check so many things. It can check problem-solving solutions. Okay. It can check essays. It can check enumeration, identification, and even multiple choice. So before, existing solutions can only check multiple choice. So shading, something like this. Okay. But now with CodeChum, it can check even essay. So I actually have some sample here. These are the essay answers of some sample students. Okay, you can see na it's handwritten, right? It's handwritten here. And so basically we just need to scan this, and we actually did in advance, and then all of the results, everything is checked na here in the system. So this is the view of the teacher. If we click this one, we could see the scores of the students. Okay. So in here, we could see their scores there. This is the essay question that we added. So explain why community-based flood control strategies are important and give one example of how a community can help reduce flood risk. Answer in 3 to 5 sentences. And for the system, for CodeChum to check the essay questions, the teacher needs to set the rubrics, because at the end of the day, CodeChum is just a grading assistant. It will check based on how the teacher wants the system to check their students' answers. So there's a set of rubrics here, and it's the teacher who sets these rubrics. So clarity of explanation, relevance and specificity of example, etc. So now, if we view the results here, okay, and then we click, for example, this one, the one with the lowest score, Alex Reyes. So if we click this one, this is his answer. Okay. So flooding happens because of heavy rain, and people in the community cannot really change that. They don't have much control over what happens. Cleaning or organizing activities will not make a big difference. Now, since his answer didn't really achieve or met what it was asked, then here in the clarity of explanation, 0/5 yung score. Here in the others, 0 as well. But if you can see writing quality and grammar, na siya score, because he was, at least to some extent, his score or his response, this one, exhibits good writing quality with very few grammatical, spelling, or punctuation errors. So you could see na it's really graded objectively based on a set of rubrics. Di na siya kanang feel lang, di ba? Sometimes there's bias as a teacher, and sometimes if stressed, kay gamay ta mga tabog score, etc. Nga naman na siya, di ba, ang may tabo. But in here, clear na gyud. And so when the students will see their scores, they will not ask, "Sir, nganong ingani raman akong score?" So the teachers will just show this one and makita na ingani mo score because of this. Here, for example, ni Juan de la Cruz, almost siya na perfect, mo niyang answer, etc. Now, ang grade chum is actually flexible, so the teacher can always override the score. So they could click this pencil icon here, and they could set the score. For example, if for the teacher, actually perfect ni siya dapat, they could just click this one and then click the check button. So essentially, that's grade chum. After everything is scanned, 2 to 3 minutes lang ang i-wait ni teacher, and all of the results can be seen here. Very efficient.
So this is really like a grading grading assistant,
Yes.
no? Because the teacher can still override in case the teacher does not agree with the grade.
Yes. Which is sometimes mao gyud na siya mo happen, because at the end of the day, AI is just an assistant, and sometimes AI is not, or not sometimes. Sometimes AI is not accurate. Right now, the accuracy of AI in grade chum is at 95%. So sometimes naagid siya mga tendencies na kuan na kanang dili correct iyang kuan, or dili clear to correct iyang output. And so that's why there's flexibility for the teacher to override.
Just in case the 5% happens.
Yes, correct.
So in terms of the development of grade chamba, so what's the hardest part of this compared to when you were a student developing CodeChum?
The hardest part is really in our case, I think it was really more on the dapat comfortable me to accept the kanang criticisms bitaw, because first time around sa CodeChum, we were moving very slow in the sense na it would take us months before we could release something, and then we would ask feedback sa users. But in the case of GradeChum, we were moving very fast. So after to na ko na-think ang idea sa GradeChum, what I did is I immediately went to Ma'am Cherry. I asked her, "Ma'am, if there's an app like this that can automatically check, what do you think?" And then she was very excited because it could really help a lot of teachers. And then I asked my all previous math teachers, that's the same feedback. And so immediately the next week, what we did is nag-launch mi og kanang MVP kunuhay, minimum viable product, or prototype, if you will. So simple version immediately the next week, and then of course dili siya smooth, and so we had to accept the quote unquote pain ba of kanang oy di lagi na siya nindot ingana ba. And so afterwards we improved, and then next week after again release na again of another version. So we are releasing so many times of updates, and di biya tanan tao ang kanang more open to kuan ba, or more forgiving. Ang katong mga more forgiving katotong mga most especially mga tech savvy, di ba, more forgiving, or mga believers basically. But majority of people dili gyud ka na murag dedicated or hardcore believers, and so they give a lot of kanang painful siya. Sometimes di nila ma-appreciate na oy ingani day siya, buggy day siya ana. So kana I think and I think that's one of the lessons or skills that you need to have as an entrepreneur. You need to be willing to accept those criticisms and pain of rejection.
And then do something about it.
Yes, do something about it. Keep moving forward.
So let's go back to CodeChum. How many schools na are using this?
Yeah, so it started with one school, my alma mater.
Of course.
It should be, di ba? Fortunately, they were very supportive with the leadership of Sir Burns Villamor. And then right now, CodeChum is in 114 schools nationwide. Yeah.
Wow. And then for GradeChum
is relatively young. We are at 6 schools right now. Yeah.
And growing.
And growing, yes.
So sige, because I can also see that there's tremendous opportunity for this one in the context of objective checking, which is important. It removes the bias. And then the other one also is in terms of speed.
Yes.
Because the teachers are able to move forward with other priorities instead of having this on inventory on their desk. So where do you see GradeChum fitting in the future of education in the Philippines?
Okay. So the next steps for us is, since we have the aggregated data of different students and different teachers, what we can do, there's a lot of opportunities moving forward. One of the possibilities that we can do is we could implement adaptive learning, where it could provide suggestions or a customized set of activities and lesson materials per student based on their current performance. Because we know the trend, na kini na student kalisod, so instead of giving everyone a generic set of activities and lessons, it's customized to that student. So learning becomes more efficient. And the other thing is, for the side of the teachers and the administration of schools, they could provide, they could plan out or strategize kung unsaon nila pag further improve ilang curriculum, again, based on data. Dili lang siya kanang feel lang bitaw na, we should implement this, we should do that. But this time, it's grounded or based on data. So I think that will really help.
And I captured earlier you used the term assistant, no?
Yes.
So for the benefit of our viewers, what's the right attitude we should have when it comes to AI or artificial intelligence?
So AI should always be just an assistant. That's what I believe, and I think that's how we should use AI. Good assistant lang. Assistant in the sense na you provide instructions to the AI, and then instead of accepting whatever giingon ni AI, you need to review, go through it, and use your own judgment yun on if sakto ba siya. You need to review it. Sometimes on God, there's a tendency na we ask AI to output or tell us something, and then okay na. Actually, very funny. We were accepting OJTs just recently, pero okay na. So like, daghan kayo og kanang mag-send og email na ang email content is Dear Hiring Manager, and then na payuban sometimes na ma-miss out nila na insert company name. So tinuod gyud abi na kog mga memes na sa Facebook, but
or katong prayer, no?
prayer
That happened months ago. Continue.
Yeah, I saw that. So again, AI helps us be more productive, but we should use it or treat it as an assistant. So we should review their outputs. If student you should not tell it to make an essay and then submit this as a teacher. That's not the right way to do it. You could probably ask them to make an essay and then give kanang unsa imong ganahan na nasa essay, and at the same time review kung mao ba gyud imong kanang like ganahan ma-deliver na essay.
We interviewed Dean Cherry also several months ago, and part of the conversation that I also had with her is, and I think that's also what you are sharing, is about cognitive offloading. Because once we abandon the thinking and then we let AI do the thinking for us, then that's when also our creativity and our judgment and our critical thinking will also erode. No?
Yes.
So when it comes to, this is not related to GradeChum, directly related to GradeChum, but this is more of how teachers moving forward can teach judgment and critical thinking. What would be the ways or the methods that you would suggest so that this is developed early on, no?
Yeah. So I think from the teaching side, what I'm sharing this based on what I've observed as a teacher before, and also from my fresh memories or experiences as a student. I think from the side of the teachers, they should give assessments that really test critical thinking, not just purely memorization, most especially current time na memorization is, I think it's not super important na, because everything is, or almost everything is available online with AI. So I think instead of, for example, giving just mga identification, mga multiple choice, and just
which they can Google.
Which they can Google. So they could give more essay questions, problem-solving questions. Okay, it would really test the problem-solving skills or the kind of critical thinking. And actually, one thing I realized is, I talked to the dean, one of the deans sa CITU. He really wants to push the teachers to do more essays. but the roadblock jud sa ilaha is the checking. So, and even my father before, I think nag-teach us sa CTS before, kadiyot. And very excited siya paghatag niya sa mga exercises, kay kanang essay ba. But then when he received the papers, that's that's when he realized na ala dagana day di siya kaya gyud buhaton. Di siya sustainable buhaton in a long period of time. Probably sa imong first semester of teaching, it would work, but long periods of time dili na. And so I think giving questions or assessments good na that will test critical thinking skills. In the context of programming, giving actual programming problems, not just kanang identification of concepts. Sometimes some teachers will do a lot of that. So problem solving good ang ideal.
So I remember when what you, and by the way, that's also where grade jump can come in.
Yes,
no?
yes.
So that because teachers can already have more essay questions.
Yes.
That would test the students' critical thinking, and then grade jump, they don't have to worry about the checking anymore. But yeah, and I'm just reminded about what you just said, which is a good point, because everybody already has access to information now.
Yeah.
It's easy. So if they still need to memorize, enumerate, that's no longer necessary. But what the Google and everything else cannot provide is really the what if,
Yes.
what could have been, how could this be done
That's right,
differently.
yeah.
And that should be what's the focus of the schools moving forward. I think that's an excellent point, though. So, sige, when it comes to, because things don't always work out, no? And whether this is about the platforms that you develop or the companies that you are running now, or even in your personal life, how do you deal with failures or things not going as planned, no? Do you kick and scream? No, just kidding.
So actually ang kanang in my failure happens to everyone man gid, no? Even the most successful ones, it always happen. And then but in my case, kay of course failure is painful. Kay kanang failure is painful kay imong plans na most especially kanang taas na nimo gi plan and gi execute, and then at the end wa di siya ni gana. It's painful. So what I would do is, and mao ni ako ako ang kanang personal life hack is kanang mag walk around ko, mo na number 1, mag walk around ko sa area, and then afterwards is if sometimes kanang super overwhelming good kay I drink Red Horse.
Indoors. Okay, and then? Okay.
But not so much, di ba? Dapat not so much.
Isa lang ka,
Isa
go.
Isa lang. And then,
Sige.
and then the more important part is after I sleep and wake up, dapat balik na dayon. Kaya na siya. So I need to take a step back. I admire those people na kanang murag maka-experience of failure, and then like ilan na ding makuha na dayon, like makamove on sila paspas kayo ba at that moment dayon. But in my case, maglisod kog think, honestly maglisod kog think sa unsa na ibuhaton. So what I do is I take a step back sa relax ka diyot, sleep, the next day move forward again.
And I think there's something that you said earlier in the interview about practice, although it's not good. It's frustrating also to fail so many times. But if we incorporate what you just thought about, taking a step back and then bouncing back, and then you do that several times in a good way, then that's also becomes an exercise for people to eventually quickly bounce back from failures. Now, what qualities do you think an entrepreneur should have?
So that one, the katong learning how to deal with failures. And number 2 is setting aside the ego. I know a lot of people na they want to do something but dili lang gid nila ma-execute or ma-put into action or ma-release out there to the people because mahadlok sila na what if delete? What if kanang dili sila ganahan ani, what if no one wants it? Na uban people mahadlok naganahan mag-vlogger but mahadlok sila mo post kay what if walay mo like ngana. And so I think it's the ego, no, na kanang fear of kanang rejection bitaw. So in an entrepreneurship, dapat kanang ma-ana jud. Dapat kay a lot of times you get rejected. Before, di ba, I remember I shared earlier na kanang I was the top of the class. So when I graduated, I was the class valedictorian. The first time we tested CodeChum in actual classroom setting, ang mga student, it was in Ma'am Cherry's class. I went there. The students who were there, they all knew about me because lower year lang sila manggod. And then we tested CodeChum there. I asked them to log in at the same time and click the start activity button at the same time, and what ended up happening kay ni crash siya. And at that time, that was the kanang kuan biya akong momentum sa pagka top of the class or excellent kay nabiya ang tato, and then all of a sudden kay niingato ang nahitabo murag ni crash siya in front of people na who idolize me. So kato medyo sakit siya, and then eventually that happened many more times in different scenarios. Eventually kay naanad na to deal with those kuan. And so basically so learning how to deal with failures, setting aside the ego, and having that grit to never give up, to keep bouncing back yun. As long as kanang buhi pa ta, if we keep bouncing back, we'll eventually get there.
You mentioned earlier about beer, no? But aside from beer, what are the small, simple things that bring you joy, no? That are unrelated with work?
I play Mobile Legends. So
What else?
I play with my 2 dogs. I have 2 golden retriever dogs. I play with them. Sometimes I walk them out of the house. And the other thing siguro is I'll go to my girlfriend.
Valentine's episode?
Valentine's episode.
Okay.
So, kana, mo gini maka-help. Oh, the other thing is I do mindless grocery shopping. So I just walk around the grocery store and then
Just to unload.
unload and then palit o kung say paliton. Say makita na nito paliton.
For people like me, the average people like me, no, who did not finish on top of my class, do you also struggle with procrastination?
Yeah, definitely. And so kini no at first that was also my perception katong bago pa ko ga-start sa akong entrepreneurship journey na kanang mga startup founders na ahead na nako ba, they don't procrastinate. Pero I have mentors and I ask them, mag-procrastinate pod mo, sir? And then they also do. So I guess it's really natural to procrastinate. The key lang yun is to snap out of it as quickly as possible. And so what I do, akong secret right now or akong life hack is every time na I catch myself procrastinating in the office is I walk around, brisk walking, and then when I come back to the office, I'm energized to do more work.
And who has been your anchor, no, in this journey?
So I think anchor
Music,
in
no?
this journey.
Okay, continue. Okay, sige.
Well, a lot of people, wala ka ng one specific person yun, but my parents, of course, kay ever since they were very supportive sa ako agad. Ever since college, katong kitabang ko sa akong papa pag-decide, di ba, kung unsa na program ako i-take up. And then the other 2 set of people is team. Kay working in a startup, unlike sa corporate, kay medyo stressful siya. And then kanang in terms of the pay, they could have gotten somewhere else with bigger pay or higher pay. And then the other set of people na kanang is our investors. So they at that time na murag hapit na may makuan, magkalisod or nagalisod na gyud, kay they trusted me with their money and time and effort. So kana gyud, I want to give back to them gyud, na at the end of the day, if we become successful, kay maka-give back ko sa ilahatan.
And for students who are watching this and then they want to make a difference, but they also feel limited in terms of resources. No? So, what will you tell them?
So, di ko sure kung sakto ba to siya na quote, but kanang the problem is not more on the lack of resources, but the lack of resourcefulness. So, kanang for in grade jam, for example, what we did when we first started out, di ba, na-think ko tong idea and then we tested it immediately the next week. Instead of spending days or months developing the actual application, what we did is we printed the answer sheets like this. So we printed these. We asked a teacher to give this to their students, arin nila i-write ilang answers. And then after the class of that teacher, we collected the answer sheets. And then what we did, instead of using AI to check, what we did is kami yung check mismo. So just to see
If it's working.
If it's working, if kanang makakita mag-value ang teacher sa automatic checking. Although dili siya instant, but at least automatic ba. We returned it the next day and then very happy siya lang na results. And so we tried it again and then we slowly build the application from there. So instead of us na mag-deliver sa papers, sila na lang mag-print, pero amo gyapon i-collect afterwards. So it's really a matter of resourcefulness.
And then, after CodeChum and then GradeChum, so what's next for you and your company?
So probably another chum na product, no? So
But I think FunChum is already finished, no? Developed already.
we'd have to come up with another juice. but probably it's going to be another innovation. At the end of the day, we're at least from my end, it's not more about the money. It's really more secondary lang siya. That's always my belief yun na money should be secondary. Dili po siya dapat walay money, no? Dapat nag money. But at the end of the day, it's more on the mission yun and kanang passion for innovation. So next step in GradeChum would most likely be another chum product.
No, I think this is a good way to wrap today's episode of Beyond the Headlines, because I think I would go back to the line that you just said, especially not in a time of Christmas, in a time of difficult situations also that what Cebu is facing. And I'd like the quote that you just shared na we are limited with our situation, but at the end of the day, all things considered, after going through the journey and everything put into the picture, it's not the lack of resource, but it's our resourcefulness that will get us through. So thank you very much for sharing your story with us today. So today's conversation reminds us that behind every innovation, every platform, every chum, or every solution, there is a story of perseverance, curiosity, and heart. And this holiday season, let's carry that spirit of giving, learning, and inspiring others. So thank you, Jude, for sharing your story with us. And thank you to our viewers for joining us today. Wishing everyone a joyful, hopeful, and inspiring holiday season. I'm DJ Moises. Talk to you tomorrow.